Welcome back to OTT Executive Podcast. I'm Brian Mahoney, CEO of Trend Research and president of the OTT Executive Community. I'm joined here today by EJ Klein. Welcome, EJ.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a great pleasure to be with you today.
Awesome. Well, listen, introduce yourself, your background, kind of what you're doing now.
That sounds great. Well, I was very fortuitous to graduate from college at Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts. And right from Smith, when I graduated, I went into the management training program of Continental Cablevision. And I did the general management track. But after the whole year of management training with Continental up in the Portsmouth and Springfield area, Massachusetts, I was able to not stay on that general management track, but go into ad sales in 1989. And at that time, cable advertising was just taking off, and it was the new hot way to, for advertisers to advertise, very economical. And I was with Continental for 3 years. And then I went to Cox Communications, and I was actually a national advertising co-op specialist with them. And so in 93, 94, I actually was networking with April Reitman from ESPN. And she put me in touch with Greg Willis, the director of the Food Network in affiliate sales and distribution. And the Food Network was just launching at that time in 1994, very exciting. And I interviewed to become the head of the Northeast region for the Food Network. And I actually got the position, moved to New York City from Connecticut, and started my 28-year career in affiliate sales and distribution of not only the top United States cable networks, but also international networks as well. My career spanned 5 years with Food until our biggest competitor, Scripps Networks, bought us out. And that was very interesting, working for your biggest competitor in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. I stayed 1 year with Scripps, and then I went to Disney, and I had a phenomenal 15, 16 months with Disney, running the Eastern region, until I was called by the Home Shopping Network to come down and to run the Comcast account in affiliate sales and distribution. Huge job for me, big financial position, big travel across the United States, where I learned to understand and know Comcast better than I think Comcast did itself. But I was brought in to actually raise more subscribers within the agreements between Comcast and HSN. And then I was there for 5 years, and then I moved on to Universal Music Group, where I launched their new network, IMF, International Music Feed, and handled the national distribution of their network until they sold their assets, their film library, to Ovation Network. And then I started my own company, Klein Media Works, in 2010, mm-hmm. and where I actually worked with international networks and emerging U.S. networks, and traveled around the globe, and started my MBA in global management at Nova Southeastern University, at Wayne Hazuka School of Business and Entrepreneurship, the only B school in the country with the word entrepreneurship in there. And then I started taking on technology clients as well as distribution clients. And in 2013-14, I worked with Across Platforms, one of the builders of the X1 app. And I was one of the first project managers in content on the international side for the X1. And at the same time I was doing that, I became a test tone for the X1. And I was living in Andover, Massachusetts. And I was just really privy to so much information of the upcoming cord cutting and what Comcast was actually doing to combat that with the X1 platform. And I said, such a coincidence being a test home now, I've got to do something about this. And so After I finished that consultancy with the cross platforms, I started my own company, Cloudforce Digital Media. We also work with the interactive cable operators and platforms on distribution. And I put in my business plan that we would launch our own streaming service, actually two streaming service, one a virtual MVPD, and also a global film network of independent films, carefully curated independent films, and our own original programming, and that we would launch that by the end of 2020. However, by 2019, that's when the pandemic started, things got pushed off. Here we are right now, moving very quickly to launch. We will launch MolQ Films in the third quarter of 2023, and it will launch in the UK and the United States. And then in second quarter of 2024, our virtual MVPD MolQ TV will launch as well. So we're very different than some of the top streaming services because they include TV and the film product all together in one app. We're different. We have the two streaming apps separate of the TV model and then the global model as well.
Yeah, because they are really different animals. Before we get into that, so just kudos to you. You were at my first OTT Executive Summit in 2014, right, in Boston?
I was.
And so people had two questions for me. Why Boston, right? And it was the middle of a snowstorm. Do you remember? I don't know how you got there, but like half our attendees couldn't make it. And then the second was, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, the great news, I was living in Andover then, so it was just a quick ride to Boston, but still it was challenging in the weather.
Yeah, and we had a ton of people coming up from New York, and I just remember thinking, wow, okay, this is a interesting start to this. And then your career is amazing. I mean, you've experienced the whole history really of cable telecom all the way through the streaming world in your career. You've been at all those major inflection points. It was Disney or supporting Comcast or back in Scripps and major brands and stuff. So, we could spend hours just, sharing notes about people we know and different products. Interesting. I didn't know about the X1. That's pretty cool. So, and advertising, another big thread in your career too. And it's kind of funny how we're going a little bit full circle now in this reaggregation of media properties, and they're starting, the major streamers are starting to look a lot like cable bundles, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yes, they are. I was just reading that that the CEO of Netflix said we should have gotten into advertising a long time ago. I agree with that, and I do believe it's going to be a challenge for Netflix because they've always sold that we're no advertising, and now their subscribers will have that benefit. I think it'll take a while for the company to balance out with their subscribers because of the customers that stayed, that went with them because they had no advertising to the no advertisers as well. So, but the good thing about that, they're going to attract with the advertising product. They'll attract a lot of younger, never cables and cord cutters as well. So it's an interesting marketplace. But the great thing about both of our streaming platforms, we're both SVOD and AVOD at launch, and we'll be offering those services right from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a couple of lessons here. One is don't be inflexible, right? Never say never. Two is hybrid models are probably best, right? Give your different demographics that are more price sensitive, a fast or AVOD type of service. Subscription have its benefits too. Some people hate the ads and they want a sort of more controlled universe. You want to offer them that, and you just want to accommodate your customer. And with all the tools we have now, and understanding of the advertising business models, there's really no reason not to offer them options.
Well, with the pandemic, we had quite a downturn of subscribers in the U.S. subscribers. We were going into the pandemic at about 183 million subscribers on streaming media, and we're down to 113 right now. So there's room again to grow here, but it just really reflects a very incredible flexible marketplace right now.
Yeah. So how does that bode for the future of the streaming industry? Are you at all concerned that we've seen this retraction? How does that affect how you look at your business model? How does that affect potentially your launch plans of the next, 4 quarters or what have you? Where is there a level set here that was needed? Or is it sort of more of a downward spiral that you're looking at?
Well, I think for the mature networks, there was a level site needed. But with us, we are very flexible and nimble, where we actually do follow the Netflix model of being an independent streaming service, of course, based in the United States. But when we launched the MolQ Films, that's a global film product, very competitive here in the United States with the streaming services. And that's why we wanted to launch the virtual MVPD as well. So you have both our film product and our virtual MVPD product, our TV product separately in the marketplace, which gives us huge cross-channel opportunities. And also on the pricing side, with US subscribers, there'll be free periods on both sides when they launch. But the MolQ film product, very excited about that. We're launching in the next 3 years in 13 countries, and we'll compete right up against the big streamers, Netflix and Amazon, that pretty much control already the global marketplace. But there's room for another film, independent streaming service, both AVOD and SVOD within the EU, Asia, South Africa, Canada, and the Caribbean as well.
And there seems to be no lack of funding for content, original content. I think Netflix is still going to spend 17, 18 billion, Disney 30 billion. Obviously, there's a lot of need and money chasing content. That's what draws people in. Content is still king. Distribution, obviously, and accessibility is very important as well. How does that affect your content strategy? First of all, what is your content strategy? Is it broad? Are there certain niche or community of interest you want to go after? Are you looking to compete directly with the Netflix, or is there some nuance to your target audience?
I believe with our MolQ Films product, we'll compete more with Netflix and Amazon Prime outside the United States. But inside the United States, really, when you look at independent curated films, series, documenting original programming, we're really competing with the AMC networks. We're AMC Plus, Movie, Sundance. I would say that very much next to HBO Max, which was just voted the top streamer in the country, and I can see why. HBO very much, they just offer the right mix of original content, series, and they have such an incredible library as well. So the film acquisition library, complete with the original programming, is really where the film product will be at. Now with the virtual MVPD, the other virtual MVPDs, YouTube TV, Sling TV, Fubo TV, Hulu TV, they've done a great job of increasing their revenues, particularly in the past year. And so they're really paving the way for MolQ TV and our virtual MVPD to enter the market at a strong pace.
And there's no concerns about oversaturation of the market. You're going to carve out your own niche, your own brand, your own target audience, and provide a value-added service to what's out there right now.
Yes, absolutely. You have to look at the distribution. We already have distribution deals in place that reach within our territories we're launching for MolQ Films and MolQ TV. MolQ TV will just launch in Canada and the US, but the MolQ Films globally. But we have distribution agreements in place that will be in front of 70 million households potential over the next 3-4 years.
That's awesome. You mentioned original content. Are you building out your own studio infrastructure? What does that look like? What are those plans?
Yes, we are. We'll have a studio in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, and also in Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow, Nashville. Very exciting. Okay.
We have the East Coast and the West Coast production facilities. Nashville is a huge, growth city right now, incredible talent there. And a lot of the top production producers and production studios are there. And in Los Angeles, of course, we will not have the big size that Amazon and Netflix have in Santa Monica, but it'll be enough to house our content team.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, obviously LA is an obvious target, but having a studio in Nashville, you get a different mix of talent, and the vibe's different and everything. So I think that makes a lot of sense. How about international? Tell us a little bit more about your international plans.
So our international plans are pretty exciting. First of all, our international office is going to be in Amsterdam because of our distribution partners, as well as our technology and our investor partners. But right now we're looking at that office to open up in The Hague. Whenever I come into, The Hague has over 180 international businesses there, many from the United States. But when I come to IBC, I usually stay in The Hague, and I've stayed in The Hague for several years. But I just see it's going to be a great place for us as well, particularly, again, with our investors, distribution, and technology partners.
Yeah, I know the place pretty well. I did a stint with TomTom in the Netherlands for a little while, Den Haag. Also love Belgium too. That was we go down there for nice meal, nice walk in Ghent, and wonderful chocolates too. So it's
a close train ride there, back and
yes.
back and forth.
Yep.
But also on the international side, so we're launching in the UK, US. UK, third largest streaming market in the world. US, that's our first launch next third quarter of next year, 2023. And then we move fairly quickly into Germany and the Netherlands to launch. And then we'll launch across the whole Scandinavian peninsula. And our next launches are in Japan the following year, as well as Australia. And then by 2026, we will be in South Africa and Italy and France as well.
Wow, you've got a full plan there. You've got your hands full too. So that's great. Let's talk a little bit about the changing consumer. They've got a lot of options out there. Initially, I think I wrote one of the original OTT reports. I want to take credit for coining the term back in 2007, believe it or not, and then a refresh in 2011. And a lot of the companies that I had introduced or was tracking at the time, a lot of them aren't here anymore. Many of them got acquired, and the bigger players are all on board now. So the consumer is pretty well educated. They're very sophisticated about what their options are. But the user experience still isn't fantastic. It's still fairly fragmented. It's getting better, but we still have content sort of all over the place, a cornucopia of content. It's not always clear what service it's on. I'm always like, okay, we want to watch this show. Is it on Netflix or Prime or Peacock or whatever it might be? Is there anything that MolQ Entertainment is going to do to help sort of improve that overall sort of viewer experience?
Yes, absolutely. So our research shows us that the foremost important thing to any subscriber is choice. And you just talked about, the sophisticated subscriber knowing exactly where to get the content they want. But to be competitive in this marketplace, what we'll be doing is we'll be introducing a couple of more categories that will be very unique to the subscribers that we will, we'll offer, across our platform. And on those categories, there'll be unique content related to that as well. That will differentiate us. Also, we'll be getting into the e-commerce side of the business with the NFTs, particularly on the film side. We have an opportunity to, with different films that we move into the actual theaters before our platform. We're working on those deals right now, but to be able to buy products that will really grow the community as well. So the two things that we're concentrating on right now, besides, building our library of film acquisition and starting our original programming, is the, how we're going to be different to the consumer as well, and to make them want to sign on and to keep them as well.
Yeah, community is really big. As you know, I'm big on social. And I just feel like that connectiveness, and that engagement outside of just, sitting down and turning on the TV and watching content is really important. You mentioned NFTs. That's really interesting. I'm not a Luddite. I actually bought my first few NFTs about a year ago. All three of them are underwater. That's okay, though. And I kind of get it. Maybe we can talk a little bit about merchandising and alternative forms of, generating revenue, NFTs, merchandising, sponsorship. Are there other lessons to be learned from your upcoming plans for launch?
I believe so. With the NFTs, again, we're building community.
Mhm.
We don't really see that as a big revenue generator. We see that as a huge branding opportunity with
Mhm.
our subscribers and really help with our growth. As far as the, as far as the different areas that we're getting into and that we're moving the company into, I'm keeping MolQ Entertainment streaming platforms pretty conservative.
Mhm.
I'm not getting into any ancillary businesses,
Mhm.
either, gaming or
Mhm.
something that brings us away from our core business.
Okay, good
Um,
point. Yep.
I'm going to keep us really much going global. That's
Mhm.
huge. Number one. But the NFTs and offering something different as far as the different categories.
Mhm.
I think that's going to make a significant difference because
Mhm.
we'll be probably one of the only places where a subscriber can get that type of experience.
No, it's good. I mean, there's something to be said for focus, right? We, without naming names, we do know of companies that kind of made an entree into gaming, gambling, and sort of backtracked, and that might be a bridge too far for some companies. So I think the focus and keep it simple is a good strategy. Can we talk about live streaming a little bit? Is there going to be a live streaming part of your strategy?
So on MolQ TV, that you have the TV network, so that is
Okay.
an all live streaming, with the TV networks. But it's not too early to tell you that we're exploring right now the opportunity of having our own live news channel within MolQ TV as well. And right now we're really trying to put that together. It won't
Mhm.
be at first; it will be a couple of years down the road. But today, with global news and people want to be up to
Mhm.
date. Particularly, the millennials
Mhm.
and, the Gen Zs, many of them have never had cable before. So
Mhm.
we want to be able to provide them information about what's going on in the world.
Mhm. Very interesting, because if you look at a lot of the traditional broadcasters, it's still to this day, when I turn on my local Boston stations, it's news, it's sports, it's the local community. It gives me sort of location in the universe from a content perspective. So that's interesting that you have that as part of your future strategy.
Hmm. Yes, we do. And it's a pretty exciting because, the person that we're looking at right now to actually bring this together has an incredible background in sports and with broadcast as well. So this is definitely on the horizon for us.
Oh, so you mentioned sports. Is that going to be part of your content package as well? Because I mean, it seems like there's a huge amount of money being thrown at, sports licensing rights.
Absolutely. We will have several of the already traditional European and US cable networks and
Mhm.
sports offered on our MolQ TV product, but we have looked at actually getting into how we'll differentiate ourselves on the live side of sports.
Mhm.
More to come on that.
So most people don't know this, but I played ultimate frisbee in college. So I don't know if they have their rights like tied up now. Maybe that's an opportunity.
We'll have to check it out.
Okay. All right. Putting a
We'll have
plug
to
there.
check it out.
All right.
Definitely.
Good. Well, listen, we like to personalize these podcasts a little bit. It's not just about the industry and what's going on. It's also about the executives and the leaders in the industry. Is there anything, EJ, you can tell us about yourself, hobbies, or things that people may not know about you that's interesting?
Well, on the global front, I've traveled to 6 continents over the course of my career, and also, work and personal.
Mhm.
I've had an opportunity to work with different companies from the Middle East to Asia to from around the globe, the
Mhm.
EU. Also, right now I'm part of the board of advisors for Smith College, and
Mhm.
particularly working with the Ada Comstock Scholars program. Those are women who've been absent from the college community for 5 or more years and want to get a college degree. And I'm a big dog enthusiast. I have my wonderful dog, and I walk about 60 miles a month with her, and I'm an avid swimmer. I would say though, at this time, the company keeps me. It's almost like 24/7.
I can't expect too
So
much,
I
but
can,
you're
and I think
busy.
you know that as
Oh,
well.
I
I mean,
totally know
I
that.
think,
But hey, wait a minute. Let's go back to dogs. I have
yeah,
2 Scottish Terriers, our little fur babies. We love them so much. What breed of dog do you have?
I have a lab mix. She's a rescue from Arkansas. She's 3 years old, and I'm thinking about getting another puppy soon here around Christmas time as well. I think that my dog's name is Marta, and I think she needs a sister or brother.
That's really sweet. I'll tell you what, we got our second dog a year later, and it was the best thing we did. They're best friends. When we
Hmm.
have to leave the house or whatever, they hang out together, they run in the backyard, and that's a really nice thing to do. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Another great thing about our company is now headquartered in Los Angeles, in El Segundo LAX, and I moved the company from Stamford, Connecticut to California. So that's pretty exciting for us right now as well.
congratulations. Well, listen, EJ, it's been a pleasure talking to you and getting to know more about you and your company. Congrats on all your success so far in your career, but also with MolQ Entertainment. We'll be keeping an eye out for these launches. Very exciting stuff.
Yes, it is very exciting. It is very exciting. 2023 is going to be an incredible year for us.
Awesome. Well, congrats and thanks again for spending the time with us and our listeners. This is OTT Executive Podcast signing off. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.